And how exciting is this? Quincy, how are you this evening?
I am doing well, Barb. I will be open and honest with our audience today for our first episode. I'm feeling a bit under the weather, but it is a testimony to how much I'm excited for this podcast, this time that we're going to share, and all of the informations that we're going to share with the ladies, and also be able to learn from them and from each other. So today is a great day, marks a new chapter, I think, for both of us.
Yes, ma'am. And anyone who's come here, this is our first podcast. Quincy and I, Barbara Ringrose and Quincy Nichols. It is our first podcast, Optimize Her 2, commonly known as OH2. This is the launch date, Tuesday, August 19th, 2025, Eastern Daylight Time in the US. For you ladies that may be, in a different country, we so thank you for joining us. I know the time changes here, even in the US, is a little different, something to adjust to. It's starting to get a little darker here around me. So, this is episode one, where two women have one mission: empowerment without limits. We know no limits, right, Quincy?
Right. I think the limits have been forced upon us at certain times, and either out of sheer will or stubbornness, we have made it a goal to shatter some of those limits and break some of the ceilings that maybe we didn't know that we could do before.
Oh, yeah, and I tell you, that's interesting because, that's one of the things that we learned as women. There are just so many challenges out there in life, and speaking of that, have you ladies that are listening to us this evening, and Quincy, this goes to you too, and I know you can attest to this over and over with me. Have you ever found yourself nodding when you're listening to a podcast, much like what we just started, or you're talking with the girlfriends or maybe some ladies at work and you're like, oh my God, yeah, I can understand that. I can appreciate that. That's how I feel. Well, it doesn't matter whether it's a popular topic or you're just talking some trash talk with your friends and so forth, just to have somebody understand you. And we have seen so many people with challenges over the past couple of maybe years, decade even. I've seen people who just feel like they're not understood. And ladies, we get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think one thing I'm really excited about, what brought you and I together, are, very different on many things. We live on opposite ends of the country. We're very different in terms of what we look like, all those things, even our background, me being in more, sort of finance and you being in more mortgage. I think for me, it's about finding people who you have common goals with, people who you can share certain interests with. And I think community means a lot of different things to a lot of people. It's not just maybe sometimes the people in your immediate household anymore. We have varied interests. There's so much more that we can be exposed to. And I think that's the one thing I love about podcasts. And that's why when I find myself nodding, it's because there's something there that I'm like, oh, I align with that. I get that.
Yeah, and it's funny that, first I wanna say again, thank you all for joining us this evening and Optimize Her too. This is just so great to be able to welcome everybody here with us. I'm Barbara E. Ringrose, and why the E? Because there were other Barbara Ringroses, and I wanted to be unique. I wanted to distinguish myself from other people, where some people like to kind of, like, hide in the background. I like to be out there up front. And I can tell you, as far as I can remember, back to when I was a little toddler, playing with my friends was like the best thing. The little girlfriends I had in the neighborhood. And then as I got in elementary school, I still have my oldest best friends, although she does not like to hear that. But my best friend from age 10, 11, 13, 14, we still get together. And then as I became an adult, it was so important to maintain and establish new relationships. And then, yet again, in my career, which had me start my business, which was previously a networking group in September of 2012, it was coined WOW, Women Optimizing Women. And then I started a business. I decided, hey, I'm going to start a business, well, Women Optimizing Women. And the next thing you know, I'm meeting more relationships. And now it's almost 13 years. Unbelievable. And women's empowerment, I know it's an overused word, so I'll kind of pull back on that, ladies. And success are my life and helping others. That is like the greatest thing I can do for you ladies.
Yeah, I hear you a lot there, Barb, when you're talking about, because what stands out to me is with each new chapter, you had to shift in identity, right? And sort of step into that newness and create those new relationships with people who were going to be able to, push you forward, but also, and sometimes maybe even acting as a mentor, right? And providing some guidance. And I think about some of the long term relationships that I've had over the years, not all perfect, right? I've had some learning and growing to do. But I think being able to hold on to some of those relationships and have the opportunity to reintroduce yourself to people who maybe you knew at a different chapter, and you get to meet them now and say, hey, this is the growing and this is what I've learned, and I would love to see, do our spirits align? Do we have those common interests? How can we support each other in this next phase of our journey?
And Quincy, I didn't introduce you as my co-host here, my partner in crime,
I know I just like to
LaQuincy.
jump in and start talking, right?
Hey, it's what we do. It's what we do. LaQuincia Nichols, I met her. She's from Arizona. You were formerly in California, right?
I'm born and raised in California. I live in Arizona now. Arizona is home, but I doubt that Arizona is my final landing place.
Eh, I've been in Maryland all my life. I'm not that adventurous.
That's okay. You
So,
travel a lot, so that's fine. You do a lot of traveling.
yeah, that's my husband. And also, you go by Q and Quincy, which in the beginning I was like, what do I call her? I don't know
Yeah.
what to call her. And sometimes that might seem like kind of a weird thing, but you become like my dearest friend. And
Yes.
it
Yeah.
just seemed like we've just connected through our networking group, NRG. It's a dynamic personality group. And you and I have those dynamic personalities.
Absolutely.
We're just proud. You are such a proud and informative person. You always engage. And you're the founder of
Yes.
experience-coaching.com.
Yes, I love my business because it allowed for me to sit in the area in which I do my best work. I had an extensive career in corporate America, and I learned a lot, and I made a lot of observations, and some of those I was able to take away and implement into my business. But the primary goal that I've always worked towards and I've always wanted to champion is that women, whether in business and home and your relationships, wherever that may be, you have to be the driver of your life. If you are staying in that passenger seat, you're probably not going to get to the goals that you're looking for if you've even chosen the goals. So with my company, it's an online boutique, coaching boutique, and what I really focus on is helping you find that spark, reigniting what does success mean to you again, and really setting those boundaries that allow you to accomplish your goals full speed.
And it's funny how our businesses and the acronyms that we use. I use WOW, you use Spark. And these are dynamic words. I think when we speak of women, how much wowness they possess and how much spark they ignite as they go out in their families, the community, business, and so forth. We offer just so much.
I love it too because, and that was one of the original things that drew me to you when I was shared your information with NRG, and to me that was something brand new because I was a girl from corporate. I didn't know anything about networking, sort of outside of my business, and you really did a great job of sort of taking me under your wing and letting me get an idea of, okay, what does this look like in this sort of different environment, to where I was no longer, the expert. I was coming in as the novice, and being able, like the relationship that you and I have, to be able to share best practices and learnings with each other,
Yes.
has been a testament to our relationship and just being authentic with each other.
And you said wing. Last week, Tricia Soderstrom and I were talking, and you and I had a three-way conversation after I got off of the phone call, and I was sitting back in my great room just thinking about our conversation together, and I thought, "My god, she was the wind between or beneath my wings, the feathers that kind of catapulted me, elevated me because I couldn't get out of my own way to finalize some of the things I needed to do for this evening's podcast."
It's great when you have community, right? And you have other women or other people in general that you can lean on. I think we, here in America, we have a reputation of being very individualistic, right? So oftentimes we don't know how to share or help. But I think that as we've, gone through certain changes all over the world, there
Mhm.
is a real yearning for a community, being able to connect with people and do it in a way that allows for you just to show up. And it may be imperfect, like me today, right? I'm not feeling the best, but this is something that we've been cooking up in the lab for a while, and really wanting to set our mark and share all of the nuggets and the jewels that we have with each other in the audience. So there was nothing, even this sniffle that I have was going to stop me from showing up today. And I think it's also a testament to our grit and our determination as well.
I can tell you sometimes there's physical things that happen to us that, they're tough to get over, their hurdles and so
They
forth, but, we have the tenacity as ladies to just keep going forward, and that's what we're gonna provide here on Optimize Her too. We're gonna provide episodes, each episode that's the 1st Tuesday and 3rd Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the US. We're gonna have episodes with guests. It's not always gonna be about you and I just coming to you and talking about what we've been doing. We don't want to bore you with just that, although it might ignite you a little bit, a little spark, and create some wellness in you as you listen to us speak. But we want to have guests that are going to come on board, experts in what they do. We also want to have panels, so it'll be a discussion and you'll get to hear maybe some differing viewpoints and so forth, then some discussion. Stuff that you don't see other than watching some of these talking head shows where they just are full of viciousness. That's not what we're about here. But get ready for a power pack 30 to 45-minute introduction to a different world, maybe some different concepts, maybe some unique dialogue. Maybe even you'll learn a thing or two here with two inspiring females who are both founders. They both found one another. They've mastered the art of balancing their business empire with their personal well being, or so that is what we tell each other.
That's what we try, right?
Yep.
I think also it's really great too, because oftentimes you think about some of the hiccups or the hurdles that you go through, and thinking about, is this the test? Is this the test of, should I go forward with this? Or is it, I had to, shift my thinking and reframe it a bit and just say, this is the test to see how much I want it. Right. And if you want it, you get up and you do it. And I think that's something that I've had to learn over the years, is that you really have to pay the price a little bit and spend the time. And I think you've been doing a lot in the background. And so I just think there's so much information that you're going to be able to share with the women, just based on your tenure and your experience, and networking, and being a catalyst of bringing women together. When I think about who you are, I think you are someone, besides us, an amazing networker, you are also someone who really rallies to bring people together in ways to find win-win solutions. So I love that.
So I understand I'm having an echo right now. Tricia's letting me know. Tricia Soderstrom is our digital operations specialist, and of course, we're the first time out the gate. So I'm trying to find out if that echoes there, because I don't necessarily see comments from anybody else. So I'm depending on Tricia for that. Um, the interesting thing is how much that we dedicate ourselves to women and how much we are for women seeking to build those successful businesses, not just our business. We're dedicated to helping other women in business. And of course, life isn't always about business, it is about how we navigate through the personal things in life. It's not just about that. Um, I think it is maybe something that we're going to have to experience a little bit here and walk through a little bit here on the podcast. I
Absolutely.
think that might be it. And if my voice is a little wonky, I'm going to try and get closer to the microphone here as I speak, and hopefully that'll help.
I think, one of the things that we talked about a lot with launching this podcast is, there sometimes the saying is like, the comparison is the thief of joy, right? And there's a lot of people who can roll out sort of a perfect rollout in the beginning, but we are asking our audience to grow with us, right? And see how we manage to build up not only our audience, but also our skills as we go through this. So you may hear an echo sometimes. I may not be as close to the mic. Those things are going to happen, but we are determined to make sure that we take those notes. And with each episode, we get better. That's all we ask.
Yeah, and I think too that, especially women in business, and I don't care if you're 20 or 65, we will share both our talents. We want women to understand, you're strong ladies. And the strong ladies that'll appear here on OH2 as our guests, you will find and learn so much from them. And that's really important to us.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm being told that I'm closer to the mic, and that's what I need to be as I look into the camera. All of these are learning things that we're going to have to figure out here as we go through this podcast. But the important thing is I say we're almost like 95% the same. We all have a lot of the same important issues. And some women, and I know I've been in that place, and I think you have too, Quincy, feel so desperate in a sanctuary, a space, and they just need a breather. They need a firm footing to reestablish themselves. And we want to address all of those things and the uniqueness of each woman and how she then can engage to better herself. And that's what we want to work towards is our inform the ladies here on this podcast about all those complex topics.
Yeah. And I think also just reinforcing that a lot of the, like you said, the decisions that we're having to make and think about, they're quite similar, right? And sometimes there is, peace of mind knowing that you're not going through it alone, or maybe you're at a place to where you're starting over, right? And that could mean within your family, maybe you're an empty nester. You could have adult children who moved back home, and now there's a multi-generational household that you have to learn how to navigate. There's so many topics I think that we're challenged with right now, and creating a space to openly talk about it and do it in a place of I'm sharing, I'm looking for support solutions, right? I want to make sure that we provide our audience with practical strategies and solutions to problems that may have been plaguing them. So I think the more that we can stay focused and committed to sharing, right, and learning, but also talking about those things that maybe didn't go right all the time, right? I think sometimes there's so much pressure to get everything so perfect. And I love, I have someone that I read a lot of information on, and they've always instilled in me, imperfect action is better than no action. And sometimes you just got to get up and try and do it. And I've been through many rebuilds myself. And each time I've come out better and thankful for it.
So, we're talking about who we are and what they want people to know. And we're also trying to bring up topics that are relevant because if you talk about things that aren't relevant, things that aren't going to help women, if we're just going to sit and complain to one another, for instance, that gets us nowhere. And I remember when my children were younger, and I used to say to them, okay, we're going to have a family meeting. And they would say to me, oh, no, not again, mom. I can't believe we're having yet another family meeting. And I said, no, it's not to complain or be witchy. It is about us talking about things that are working well. And I think between you and I, we're doing pretty much the same thing. Focusing on the things that are working well, not focusing on the things that don't work, the things that are making us unhappy, the things are bringing us maybe even financial woes.
Yeah, I've been there in many capacities. You know, you're sitting or you're laying in the bed hoping that your spouse or your partner, whomever you lay next to, right, doesn't know that your eyes are wide open and you're probably struggling with some fear or some sort of looming deadline that you just don't know what to do about it sometimes. I think we've all gone through that, and there's no shame in that, but I think there is a level of honesty and transparency that we're looking to bring to our conversations that will help us um promote being authentic in the issues that you're going through, owning those emotions. But to your point of your family meetings, getting down to the facts, right? What is working and what is not working? And what's not working, are you willing to change? How immediate are you willing to make that change? And what are you willing to start saying no to so you can start saying yes to yourself more?
And that's kind of a topic here this evening on this podcast is that authenticity and setting the tone, not just your voice, but also the tone as it is for the topic, the subject matter you're speaking about, because there's a lot of vulnerability out there. And even coming on this podcast, you feel a little bit out there, if you will. Will
Exposed.
things go work? Well, most people will tell you the first podcast is a little
Right.
wonky
Right.
as compared to it was later on. And I accept that. I own it. I'm ready for that. That's all good. But it's important to have honest insights and practical advice. And those are the things that I think the two of you can bring to our audience as they come and join us, the
Yes.
first and third Tuesdays of each month, because we're going to share them. And, we're going to do our best to do it in a way that's both professional, kind, because we want them thriving in both their life, their personal life, their business life, and we want to make it real. We don't want something that's just topical, that it's not going to help someone, or like a makeup you put on your makeup or your lipstick in the morning. We want it to be in depth. And we want it to celebrate the wins. What are the wins we've had? Not what are our losses.
Right. Because the losses are the opportunities, right? Those are the moments where if you take that time, what I like to call, and do a postmortem of what worked and what didn't, right? Then there's an opportunity to not make those same mistakes again or repeat those patterns. I think about what you said, Barb, in terms of, it not being perfect. And all I see is in a year, these first few episodes are going to be an amazing blooper reel of look how far we've come. Right. And
Ugh.
so I'm just like, I'm not worried about it. I think, gone are the days of everything having to be picture perfect. I think those moments of just having genuine conversation with someone who you truly care about, you're curious to learn more about, while thinking that not all topics will we agree, right? But the agreement is to always be respectful, to demonstrate curiosity, and to take an opportunity to expand your perspective when you can.
And, we talk about social media and so forth, and how we then communicate with one another, how I reached out to people to get them on this podcast, how I reach out to people in business. And I look at Facebook and I look at X, and I'm sure other people do the same thing, whatever your social media platform happens to be. And if you're not saying things that are positive there, I saw somebody who was an older lady who put something out there that I thought was really horrible. We should all be leaders, no matter what age we are. We need to set example for the young ladies in our community, our daughters, our granddaughters, our business partners. And it's important for us to listen. Look at social media, but don't totally consume your
Yeah,
day
you
by
can't
it.
internalize that, because if not, you'll walk away with all types of issues that you will never make enough money to solve. I think about when you say that, Barb, there's a sign that I have posted in my office, and it says 3 questions to ask yourself before saying anything. And I take the saying with also writing, and it says, does that need to be said? Does that need to be said by me? And does that need to be said by me now? And I use that as sort of my gut check to know, am I responding purely based out of emotion, or is this something that maybe can wait? And that those 3 little questions, I think, have helped me so many times to say, you know what, I can hold this, and be a bit more thoughtful about what I'm trying to communicate, and also the mode or method I'm using to communicate, because the goal is to never um, put someone down. Right? That's not the space I like to stay in.
And face it, I love the reels. I love the animal reels. I think they're so funny. The cats, I send them the
I don't
dad
even have a cat, and
jokes.
I'm watching cat reels all the time.
I think it's really funny. I
Yeah.
think some of these things are really fun, and then I think there's also some things, especially when people have some sort of narrative that they're sending out there into the universe, that it just is derogatory in nature, and it's not something that's gonna help them or someone else. My nephew said to me one day, I was talking to him about something that wasn't very nice, and I made a statement, and he said, I would prefer not to release that to the universe." And I thought about that. And here I am a year later, I believe it was last summer when he said it to me. I'm repeating it. So it's worth repeating.
You know what? You shared that story with me, and I shared it with someone else. So he is absolutely making a reverb through the universe, because I promise you, I was just like, you know what? I'm not ready to own those words just yet. I'm not ready to put it out there. So I need to hold it.
I
And
like
sometimes
it.
that's okay.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
At some point in time, we're going to get a little fancier here. And I can see, as you were just saying, we're going to progress. This thing is going to grow. We'll end up having maybe some music, or maybe our names will appear in hot pink or a vibrant blue, much like our banner that Tricia and Quincy created that you see on YouTube. And I can only hope that we add more color to your life, that we add more spark, that we help you generate more wellness in your life. And by visiting us that first and third Tuesday at 7 p.m., that's going to help so much in your life. I know you will enjoy this. And I think too, it's a matter of the listening, because I was just thinking wholeheartedly as you're speaking with me, Quincy, we have developed that skill of listening, and then we can also kind of sort of interrupt, but not interrupt and pull back. And that is a learning curve, isn't it?
It is. It is. As well as, being able to pause. I think sometimes on podcasts or when you're just in regular conversation, there's a desire to feel the air. And sometimes having that moment of pause just to let it process and really sit with someone can make a world of difference.
Yeah, listening is a big deal. I remember my father used to say to me, "Won't you listen? Don't you kids ever listen?" Well, you know what? As an adult, you're still hearing in your management meeting, you guys need to learn to listen. So it's even in adulthood, we're still having difficulty listening. So, a skill that we can do a little bit better. We didn't learn well as a child. And now we're in adulthood, and now we need to be responsible and act adult like. And every once in a while act like a kid too.
Absolutely.
And I also want to say that on the wowwomenus.com website, you can go to our member directory and you can also reach out both to Quincy and myself. Just look us up. Quincie is what we call her, but she goes by Laquincia, or you can remember Nichols. You see our names right here on the screen, Barbara Ringrose. But you can send us a message and give us some idea of some upcoming topics you'd like for us to cover here on OH2. We want to hear from you. We don't want it just to be about us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's many topics, right, that we have sort of in the pipeline that we can talk about, but the best way to serve, right, and I think that's what we're doing here, is to ask, right, what is it that we can maybe start with immediately that will really help provide us to some solutions to someone who may be in conflict right now. Everything I talk about is bringing your boldest self to your biggest problem. So let's start thinking about how we can leverage this platform as a way to allow our listeners to send in topics or questions, and maybe we can provide them some of our best strategies. And while we're not part of professionals in anything outside of the things that we do, right? I'm not here to give any sort of legal or financial advice, and that's for the lawyers and the tax people. But I can give you some insight on what's worked for me before, and also if I tried something and it didn't work, I'm open to share that too, because I think that's just as powerful.
Something exciting here, too, I wanted to add is the power of social media. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention LinkedIn for those professional business ladies. If you have not started a LinkedIn account, please do so. If you're in a career, if you're in a small business, get on there. If you're in public service and you offer a lot to the community, join LinkedIn. That's another great place to be. And there's a lot of other professionals. Sometimes they get a little catty or there's a few conversations. And sometimes I think I'm on Facebook, but definitely there are professionals there that can guide you. It's not just about finding a job and getting on LinkedIn like most people think. And I just want you to know that we are over the top elated here this evening for your presence with us. And what a present it has been. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I know, Quincy, you feel the same.
I'm very honored to be in this space. But it's also taken a lot of work, right, for us to get here individually and collectively. So I am one I've always wanted to have a podcast or have some sort of microphone, and to now I'll be able to do that in partnership with you, Barb, and have someone to share this space and bounce ideas with, and see what's working and what's not working and how we can support each other in our growth. I just think we're in a great time right now.
And don't keep us a secret.
Yeah.
Like and follow us, share us, OH2, optimize her too on YouTube, on your social media platforms. Let the whole world know.
Don't be selfish with us. Yes. Share
Yes,
us
do
out.
not, do not, do not. And I have to say again, a special thank you to Wow Women, Optimizing Women's Digital Operations Specialist, and that is a mouthful, Tricia Soderstrom. She is amazing. Started out as a virtual assistant, and she has grown so much over this last 2 years. You talk about growth. She has in her expertise and her guidance and helping us make this podcast a reality. It takes
She
a
got us together.
it takes a village.
She does.
Well, we're like a mini village. Yeah.
It is, but I think the fact that we're so focused on making sure that we show up and we do what we can, and you may see the two of us right now or in the front of the camera, so to say, more regularly, but we could not do any of this without Tricia. So Tricia, you are a rock star, and we support you and we thank you for everything you do for us.
Yeah, she is, and I know she's probably smiling as she's hearing us say
As she
this.
should.
Well, it's been an amazing, what, 30 some minutes that we've been on, 30 minutes, almost to the T. We don't like to keep people. We know and we respect that you have other things going on. As we engage with other guests going forward, next month we're going to look at a topic. We'll let you know what that topic's going to be, and we'll try and post it out there to all of you in advance. That's September 2nd. And that will be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we're so looking forward to seeing you. Such a pleasure to see you too, Quincy. And gosh, I hope you feel much better soon. Please get some
I think
rest.
I'm on the upswing. So I'm hoping that, few more hours of rest and maybe I'll be back to 100%.
You are a warrior. You are really a warrior. All right, give them your spark, lady. I'll give them my wow. And all my best to everyone out there. Thank you so much.
Take care, everyone.
Stay well.
Stay well.